What up, y'all? It's May 22nd, 2019. It's your boy Degenerate here. Looking at what cryptocurrencies are doing in the market today. Past couple days, past week's been fucking interesting. I'm excited about it. First off, I'm looking at Bitcoin price action. The week's about halfway through. This is the current candle, obviously. You still see low volume. Not that I want to see Bitcoin close all the way down here below this candle, but if I were to remain bearish, I would want it to at least close into this wick territory. Under like 7,600. When you look at the 3-day, because you can do that, this is where it looks a little bit more bearish. This candle didn't close above the previous one. There's an aggressive 13 here. You have less volume than the previous week, but this candle started today. So the current candle, just keep an eye out on it. If you see it under 7,200, maybe just wait. But if it doesn't close underneath this, then it looks like consolidation before it'll move higher. And I think alts are playing along with that at the moment as well. I want to look at a trade that I missed out on by a few Satoshis. On the daily, this is the trade that I was talking about placing, and here's my target up here at 320. You see it hit it like 7-8 days later. It's all about being patient. I wouldn't buy this now. You see more volume coming down than you did coming up. I want to see volume taper off coming down. So currently I'd be looking for a 1 through 4 period correction before you got back into seller. If I had to pick a nice rebound level, something around here seems nice, and even up there at 183 seems nice. But if I were to put money on it, it would honestly be back there at like the 136 level. 150 level if you're just getting desperate for a trade, because that's where it bounced here. And if you're really trying to be a degenerate, you could buy it right up here. This volume profile agrees with you. But there's not a lot of data to go off of seller. I mean, it was an ICO. Not up there. Down there. It was an ICO. I had a great first. Someone bought it way too expensive. Just one person probably. And from there, it only had a descent down from like 500 satoshis all the way down. So to see that 300 satoshis, like, I believe it. But also, once it gets above this 300 level right here, I only see it going up and going up fast. There's not a lot of people that have bought it down below this level. Like when you look at the volume, I'm assuming that this volume is some hands getting out from here and some hands that had got out from the ICO price. But to go ahead and make some people FOMO into selling down here, there's gonna be a lot of work. Let's see, Zcoin, I was looking at that as well yesterday compared to today's price action. It looks thick. You have a close above the previous candle yesterday. That's a lot of volume coming in compared to the last 4 days of dropping. And today, if this closes currently, I'm going to remove this, but if this closes above this wick and you really wanted to get into a trade, you could place a trade with something like that, or I'd keep my low at the low here, and then a 3-to-1 trade gets you like down. You could have a 3-to-1 trade if it just hits 1,070, which is still in this range that could still even be more accumulation. I'm just playing that range until it breaks out. Like, really, until that range closes one or the other, I would assume that price is going to stay between this line here and then this line here. Just looking at the daily chart for it, you can see that this line up here at 1300 held a lot. So even going up and retesting that from 900, not unforeseeable. It could do exactly what seller did. I'm not in this trade at the moment. My Bitcoin is allotted between Stratus and Qtum. But once they hit targets, what else are you going, like, you should take profit at your targets, and you should allocate that money to somewhere else that hasn't been hit yet. So if you were to do that trade and your target was 1300, you have like a 6.5 reward risk ratio. DNT also looking good. That shit popped off the past 2 days pretty hard. If you would have bought down here at 196 during all this panic this past week, easily a quick 0.5% or 50%. If you were to buy at that dip 3 days ago and had your stop loss just right below that candle, again, a 50% gain for you. My target is just set, if you're really looking at DNT for the long term, for real, you could aim up here at like 10,000, or 1,000, excuse me. That said, I'm looking at the 0x chart, which is a project to DNT. It's like the same company essentially. You have a lot of volume coming in here, and not necessarily looking at time indicators, but you have low volume going down, you have high volume going up, and it's the cheapest it's been in almost since December of 2017. And December of 2017, it did this shit. Not saying that that's what's going to happen next. You can see this chart was falling a lot faster, or at an angle, starting from a lower price. But then once it broke out, that's where it went. And when you're looking at this chart, you could have had a similar line like right there if you're going for wicks, and bring it down to there. There's your line. It's broken out of it. It came back to almost retest it. If you were looking at like a long play on this, hell, you could buy it right now with just a little bit of your account. You could have your stop loss. You just devote like 5% of your account, and if it retests new lows, then you'll get it. But even just getting back to an 8,000 BTC range back in April, you have a 6-to-1 risk reward ratio there. Or if you're talking about all-time highs, right there, that's a 20-to-1 risk reward ratio. So you could size it with 5% of your account, and just forget about it. And if it gets new lows, then you lost 1% of your total account. And if it hits this target up here, if it returns all-time high levels, you could just sell it. And you know, make 20% of your account essentially. 320% on that 5%, so that's like 15, 17%. Sounds like a good deal to me. Another chart that I'm looking at. Just looking at the weekly of it. You can see the weekly, that's the most volume it's had in a long time. Besides, the last time that it started pumping at the 4,800 level. But the only way that you can confirm is see what happens next week. But if this weekly closes up here, that's a good like 10% that I'm having to size in from right there. So I don't know, you could play the lower chart if you wanted to and just see if the weekly closes above there in a bullish scenario. So if you were going to a long position, and you really wanted to guarantee that it closed above last week's weekly, you could do something like that. 25% of your account, probably 20% of your account after including shading fees and some slippage. You could pull this out a little bit if you wanted to. But that's still a 3-to-1 reward risk ratio. When you look at its USD price, Coinbase, it looks good. If it breaks past this current range, this is literally the range that it's been playing, is from like 35, 36 cents right here, I would call that. And after that, you don't have real price action. Like, okay, here's the lows down here at 21 cents, but there's a lot of price action in between this like 24 cents level. You've had it between 21 and 24 cents for almost 3 months. I guess 2 months is a little more accurate. If you were to size into it, I have something set up like that. I'll be buying it down here at like 31 cents. Are you cutting down at 26? If you want to bring it up closer, you're more than welcome to bring it up to 28 cents. I think that's possible. You have buyers in this area that a lot of people might decide to buy on. But after it breaks past that, like, where are you going to stop on your target? And for me, the only real target here is up here at 70 cents. So that's 120% risk, or 120% gain. If you were to size into that around 30 cents. Do I have anything else to talk about today? Oh, I'm still in my Stratus trade. The 2 trades that I have been in, Stratus BTC and Qtum BCC. I'm real interested in these. Accumulation, it looks like here you have more volume. I like the daily close there up at 1171. My stop loss is still back here at 1051. As long as this doesn't close below this candle, I would only expect price to keep going up. When you're looking at the volume profile, it's fucking bare. All between 1100 and 2000. Even on the chart. So anyone selling you Stratus at this point is taking a loss on it. And if you're taking a loss on it, you probably don't have a lot of it. I mean, there may be some huge buyer up here that's just held the whole way down, but I fucking hope not. But you see more volume coming in across the whole chart. I'm excited for that Binance AMA, just as more people to feel good about Stratus, so I can sell them my bag, like for real. I'm not gonna tell you to buy Stratus, uh, unless you're getting it at a good price. Like unless you're getting it at this 1092 price and cutting it at 1051, or you can even cut it a little bit lower if you really wanted to play this. Like again, there's a 20% stop right there between that and your target up here at 2000. That's still a 4-to-1 risk reward ratio if you wanted to play it. But anyway, I would suggest y'all not buy that unless you really wanted to. But that's my plan for it. Is to dump it on someone around the 2000 range. And queued them. I sized in back at 382. I think it's about that level still. It'll probably keep playing this range. I want to cut it if it drops past 368. I don't have a lot of tolerance for that coming down, because I think it should just come back down to 314. The volume isn't my favorite. At the time when I sized in, it looked like this, and I'm like still pretty about it. I think that's chill. I don't like this daily candle engulfing the previous daily candle, but it makes for a good buying opportunity if you were going to buy that, because you could just do something like that, and that's still pretty much the same risk to reward. Looking to sell it back up here around the 500 level, and yeah, from there the only targets are upwards: 1,000, 1,200, and then 2,000. Once it hits your targets, you sell, you free up some Bitcoin. If you want to play another altcoin chart, you definitely can. I would not buy an altcoin chart that's already pumped. So, like seller, if that chart's already pumped, if you're looking to buy this right here, thinking that it's going to continue pumping, just size in appropriately and manage your risk. It could always be another Raven, who's just now getting back to pre-liftoff levels. Which I can't believe that. It was down here at 200, and for a while it was at 1,700 for a bit. This is a good, from this pump to right here, from 268 all the way to 900, someone 5x back in March, and for it to be resting at this like 630 level, you could play that. You could have an easily identifiable risk and reward. If you were playing that range, that's already more than a 3-to-1. If you're playing it back to all-time highs, you have a 12-to-1. But again, I'm already almost 20 minutes into this video. I just wanted to talk about what altcoins were doing. I hope y'all manage your risk appropriately, and I hope you make the most amount of money possible while following your trading plans. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to answer them. I hope you all have a great day, and trade safe, y'all.